Hi guys, welcome back to this Retro Manchester City save. My name is Chris, aka Big Will, and here in episode 19 we have a top of the league clash away at Watford, followed by an away game against Tranmere Rovers, who are down near the bottom of the league. Form has been a little bit hit and miss recently, but we have for the most part still continued to play well. We have an 8-point lead over Watford, and I'm hoping that we can extend that gap today, and it would go a long way to achieving our goal of pushing on for winning this league title. Having the away game first is always a bonus as well. It means that we can take stock and see where we're at. And the fact that we're away against Tranmere afterwards, hopefully we can get 2 good wins today and push on and see where we end up. So for this game, away at Watford, we've got Weaver in goal, Upson, Craddock, Smith and Carr at the back, Pollock and Francis the midfield pair, with Humphreys, Murphy and Davis in behind Kyle Court. We have had a number of games recently, so there's a little bit of fitness concerns with one or two players, but we have got a strong enough squad, I think, to be able to deal with that and rotate accordingly. With us being away against Watford, like I say, it'll be a tough game, but I am hopeful of a good result. Like I say, form has pretty much been okay for the most part, but we have slipped up a little bit following those two derby defeats in the last episode. We've had one draw in our last few games, but the rest we have managed to get good results in. We have an early highlight here in coming from Watford, but Craddock intercepts well and finds Upson on the left-hand side. Craddock plays it into the centre for Damien Francis. Danny Murphy moves it on quickly for Kyle Court, who tried to find Kevin Davis wide right and couldn't find him. And Watford now push forward here. It's only been 30 seconds into the game, so it looks like Watford are going to get a first opportunity, and it's Thomas Moore. 36 seconds gone, and Watford are ahead. No, they're not. Offside has been given. That is a relief. I thought we were going to be in for a bit of trouble there. But straight after here, we've got another highlight coming through, and it's Stephen Carr on this right-hand side, and he looks over the top, and Kevin Davis did get onto it, but couldn't control it, and Higginbottom manages to clear, but it's only as far as Humphreys now. This is Matt Upson. Has got Humphreys ahead of him, but plays it back to Craddock. Now Damien Francis. Space in the centre here. Danny Murphy finds Kyle Court, who's around the keeper. What a clearance by Danny Higginbottom. What a clearance that was. And it remains 0-0. Both sides having a good chance here right at the start of the game. Pollock with the resulting corner looks to whip it into the far post, and Kyle Court almost won that over Wellens. It's come down for Jody Craddock, who strikes. He's a centre-back for a reason. He doesn't score goals like that, and it goes way over the bar, and it remains 0-0. Very quick start to the game, clearly, with both sides looking to get forward. It's going to be a solid game, clearly, and a typical top-of-the-league clash is very much underway. So as you can see with the league table, the playoff places are quite open as well, but ourselves and Watford have pulled away from the chasing pack so far this season, and hopefully if we can get a good result here today, we can pull further away from Watford and secure this top spot for future matches. As it gets played forward, Craddock does well to win the header, but he couldn't find Kyle Court, and Thomas Moore plays it out wide to right. Now it's Young. I'm assuming this is Ashley Young, who did come through at Watford. Couldn't get the cross in, and Humphreys is going to be able to get this clear. He needs support, though, and he does well, playing it out to right wing back Stephen Carr. He's got support ahead of him, finds Kevin Davis. Kevin Davis down this right-hand side now, looking for support, manages to turn well. He has got support ahead of him, but he's gone alone, and it's over the bar. He was a bit greedy, in my opinion, from Kevin Davis there. He has to work for the support, and he didn't find that support in the end, and it dissipates into another wasted opportunity. To be quite honest, given the way things have been recently, I would be quite happy with a draw in this situation. It would maintain our 8-point gap. A win would be phenomenal, of course, but a draw, like I say, I would be quite happy with. Danny Murphy, this is Kevin Davis now, moving down that right-hand side. He has got support arriving in the penalty area with Danny Murphy and Kyle Court. He plays it back to Stephen Carr, whips it in, looking for Kyle Court, and there's the header. And it's a 25th goal of the season already for Kyle Court. Bear in mind, he signed in January, remember, last season. And since he's signed for us, we've not got to January yet, so he's not even been at the club for a full year. And he's scored 50 goals for us in all competitions now. He has been absolutely outstanding since signing. This is Pollock now to Danny Murphy. Opportunity here. Danny Murphy strike, but it's a good save from Chamberlain. So it still remains 1-0. We're looking quite good at the moment, and very positive going forward as well. We look reasonably solid defensively despite that early error, But we do need to stay on point and hopefully continue to do what we're doing. But that is a loose ball over the top, and this is right down the right-hand side now. And he plays it in, and Thomas Moore's there. And it was shocking defending by, I think that was Smith. He just didn't try and attack the ball. And Thomas Moore ran onto it and put it in, and it's 1-1 here. Very disappointing goal to concede. It was poor at the back from Mark Smith. And he's been so solid for us throughout the campaign so far. It's very disappointing that he's made an error like that. But half time, it's 1-1, and I think we've been the better team, but at the same time, defensively, we were poor there. I'll say I don't like what I saw from this team. We want to push the lads on a little bit, and hopefully we can push on for a good result today against Watford. As it remains 1-1, Calcourt has got his goal, of course. Kevin Davis has been poor on that right-hand side, and I think we're going to have to take him off. He's been a little bit hit and miss more recently, and it is a little bit of a concern. We're also going to bring Nicky Shorey on for his full debut at left back for Matthew Upson. And Craig Bellamy, I'm looking at potentially bringing him on as well for Richie Humphries, who's not really done much so far today. And that'll be the 3 changes for the time being. So as it goes through, we've just hit the hour mark. It remains 1-1 here. There's still not been many more chances in this second half. We are having the majority of the ball though, and we're still creating a few chances. But as it sits, I mean, I think we're comfortable in terms of the league table at the minute. We're 15 points clear of third place, so we're looking good in that manner. But in terms of the league title, which is what we're looking for this season, we really have to be beating Watford at this point in the season just to establish our authority in the campaign. But like I say, I would take a draw at the start, so hopefully we can continue in this vein. Van Boyton we brought on for Smith because he was struggling for fitness, so I think that'll strengthen our resolve at the back. Here's Danny Murphy in the centre, looks to switch it. Craig Bellamy here on this left-hand side. He does well to get onto it. He's just about kept it in, and he's played it across, and he couldn't quite find Calcourt, and it's going to be cleared away potentially here by Watford, but Bellamy's managed to get onto it again. Plays it in, Calcourt running onto it, couldn't win the header, and it's cleared, but only as far as Van Boyton at the halfway line. Now Francis into Pollock, back to Van Boyton. Looks over the top for Sean Wright-Phillips, he couldn't find him, and now Njegus into Lachlan. Stephen Carr desperately trying to win possession and not being able to, and the switch of players worked out here for Watford with Wright, and they've got 5 players forward, and it's Thomas Moore again, he's put Watford ahead here, and it was absolutely shocking defensively again. We were cut open far too easily. We're going to demand more. It's not good enough at the back, and we seem to be making a habit of not winning for these episodes at the moment, but when it comes to it for the rest of the games, we're doing okay. But Ian Thomas Moore has been in fantastic form for Watford so far this season, but defensively again, we're very suspect. As Chamberlain looks to clear, Nicky Shorey looking to get onto it, but Wright beats him to it. Nicky Shorey's on the yellow card as well, and this is Wright now. He looks to play it in. Thomas Moore is free in the area, but Weaver manages to claim, and it's going to be cleared by Nicky Weaver, and hopefully we can create an opportunity from the back here. This is Nicky Shorey into Craig Bellamy. Looking to cut inside here. He does well, Craig Bellamy. Looks over the top here. Sean Wright-Phillips curved his run too much, and he's not been able to get onto the ball. Van Boyton does well to win the header though and find Damien Francis. He has support ahead of him if he can find it, but Njegus wins the challenge. Pollock does well to win it back and find Craig Bellamy, who nods it inside for Danny Murphy. He can't find any support though. Nicky Shorey with the delivery, and Calcourt's in. There was a hint of offside there. I'm not sure if it's going to be given, and it isn't. Offside given, and we must start again and try and create an opportunity. Nicky Shorey does well. He absolutely leathers it forward. Right, Phillips isn't going to win it in the air though, but we do manage to get onto the ball here with Sean Wright-Phillips down this right hand side. Plays it into Damien Francis. Oh, it's just wide of the post. It was a very controlled strike, but it looks like we could be heading for another defeat here. It's been quite disappointing in this second half. We've looked good going forward, but defensively we're very suspect. And Thomas Moore's over the back again here. Is it going to be a hat-trick for Thomas Moore? It is. He's finished the game off for Watford. Absolutely shocking at the back again. A Route 1 ball. We've been caught out. And Watford have secured this victory here. And once again, I don't know what it is about when we have games in these episodes, but it's just not quite happening for us. And a hat-trick for Thomas Moore has secured them a victory here, and they close up to 5 points behind us. Well, it's a very disappointing performance, to be honest. Once again, we're not looking good. defensively, and despite the quality of defence that we have, it's a bit of a concern that we're getting a bit complacent for things like that. We're going to run straight through in this episode to that Tranmere game as well. Um, Again, I'm not entirely sure what to do defensively that'll make any changes. Sure, he made his debut and he was very poor, but once again, I mean, Thomas Moore, when you look at him statistically, I mean, his finishing is quite poor, but he's such a determined character. His work rate's great and his pace is good. But other than that, he's not really got a lot going for him, to be quite honest. But he somehow always does it against us. And he's only made 7 starts this season, scoring 14 goals. So he's certainly making a difference. One thing I will look for, though, is I'm wondering if Young was actually Ashley Young, who potentially has come through. It may have been Luke Young, but I'll just have a quick look. No, it looks like it was Luke Young that was playing. I thought it may have been Ashley Young, but clearly not. Perhaps he's not come through just yet into the save. So as we edge towards the Tranmere game, hopefully we'll have a little bit more of a solid performance at the back. But again, a big concern that we're not doing well. First in the derbies, for example, but then against potential league rivals, we have to be winning the games if we want to establish ourselves. And if we want to do well and get into the Premier League, we've got to be on point with these games. Because otherwise, there is every possibility that we could come straight back down again. We've really got to work hard. And hopefully, we can re-establish our winning ways with this away game against Tranmere Rovers. The under-18s are playing on the same day, and then the under-21s further on in a friendly. And we have got it set up so that our first teamers that are not on match fitness, they are playing for the under-21s as well, so they are getting match fitness if nothing else. And it means that they're at least getting some form of game time. Granted, they're not necessarily playing top quality teams, but game time is game time, and it will aid their development regardless. And I am hopeful of a better result against Tranmere, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. In terms of first division assists, as you can see there, we're joint top with Richie Humphries with 9 assists so far this season. He's done very, very well. And hopefully he can contribute a little bit more in the next game. Unfortunately, the last few matches as well, yes, we have won games, but with the front four that we've had, they started off really well this season, but one or two of them have just come in with a couple of poor performances between them. If it's not one, it's the other, and then if it's not the other, then it's the next one again. So we've really got to tighten things up, and we've got to encourage our players to be playing consistently better. And yes, we're top of the league, but at the same time, if we don't have consistent performances, things like this will happen with blips in form, such as the loss to Stockport County and that quite poor defeat in the end to Watford. But hopefully, like I say, back to winning ways would be nice for this away game against Tranmere Rovers. And it's taken a little bit longer to get through to it, so I do apologise for that. I was expecting it to come through a little bit quicker, but we've just got to be a little bit more patient, unfortunately, as it comes through about some of the players in the Scottish Premier League having only 6 months left on their contracts, which is nothing of interest right now. We're focusing on getting this game through. Training has been quite reasonable. Only Damien Francis and Nicky Shorey haven't done very well, so Mark Smith has done well there, which is good to see. But being good in training means nothing if you make the errors in the matches, and unfortunately he was at fault for one of those goals in that game against Watford. Well, Watford have actually got a tough game at home to Coventry next up. Coventry currently 7th in the league, but they came down from the Premier League, of course, so they're fighting for a playoff place. They're looking to try and go straight back up themselves. So hopefully Coventry can do us a favour, providing we do the job away at Tranmere. We will get there very shortly, I promise. I do apologise it's taking so long to get through to this. I didn't expect it to be quite this long, but here we go. Hopefully this will be it. Here we go. Yep, we're away at Tranmere. Finally we're into the match engine now, and we'll see how we get on. So we've got Nicky Weaver in goal, we've got Upson, Smith, Van Boyton and Mills at the back, Parker and Brown in midfield with Humphreys, Murphy and Davis at the back behind Court. I think what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to play Humphreys in the central role and I'm going to play Craig Bellamy wide left, if it'll let me. Just bear with me a second while I sort this out. Yeah, we're going to play Craig Bellamy wide left. And we're going to play Danny Murphy ahead of Michael Brown in that central midfield role. And hopefully we'll be a little bit more solid today. And I think Craig Bellamy's been doing a bit better out wide. But again, last few games we have struggled. So hopefully we can return to winning ways for this game and establish ourselves a little bit further atop of the league if Coventry can do us a favour. So here we go for this game. We want to see a big improvement from the side today after that defeat to Watford, who we have lost to last season as well, of course. But here we go. So what I'll do, we know what the league table is going to be. We're going to stay top regardless, but we want to know what's going to happen in that Coventry-Watford game. Here's Danny Mills into Danny Murphy with the throw-in. Danny Murphy plays it back to Van Boyton. Now Mark Smith has support on that right-hand side, but they've gone left to Scott Parker. Mark Smith switches it to the left-hand side for Upson, who's in loads of space. He tried to fire it in for Bellamy, and it didn't come off. But Mills wins possession. It's over the top now for Craig Bellamy. He looks to fire it in, and Powell makes the save. And I think in the end, it's been bundled out, and it's gone for a goal kick. Positive start, though, from the boys. Good to see. Watford are actually at home to Coventry as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Upson into Mark Smith now. Mark Smith into Upson again on that left-hand side. Looks to play it forward. Bellamy reacts well. Gets onto it. Switches it inside. Looking for Kyle Court, who couldn't quite get enough onto it. And it's an easy claim for goalkeeper Powell, who delivers it long. And Powell's kick goes straight through to Nicky Weaver. It's a huge kick from the goalkeeper there. Here's Smith into Upson. Now Scott Parker. Over the top. And Craig Bellamy could be in behind. He's beaten the goalkeeper to it. And he's lofted it over. Brilliant goal from Craig Bellamy. And training him for that left-hand side certainly seems to be paying dividends here. It's 1-0, and we're looking a little bit better going forward already in this game than we did against Watford. So looking at the possession, it's quite even actually in possession. I'm quite surprised at that considering the start we've had to the game. They haven't created any chances themselves, Tranmere, but we are looking strong despite the lack of possession. Here's Kevin Davis on this right-hand side. Kyle Court was there. It's going to be cleared by Shellier, who did start off at City in this save. Here's Kevin Davis. Looking over the top here for Richie Humphreys. Has support in the centre, and it's Kyle Court. And he's hit the post, but it's come straight back to him. He just taps it in. It's 2-0, and we look set here for a good 3 points. Hopefully we can get a few more goals in just to raise confidence levels a bit after that defeat to Watford. Speaking of Watford, I've just seen Coventry are ahead. Well, they were ahead briefly. It is now 1-1 in that game. Here's Upson into Bellamy. Scott Parker now has support, looks for it over the top, but Kyle Court had checked his run, and unfortunately it didn't quite happen there. Here's McGibbon. Looking over the top for Clare. Van Boyton's been beaten in the air there, but Smith mops it up well. Here's Danny Murphy to Kevin Davis. He has support inside the penalty area if he can get around, and he does well to find Craig Bellamy at the far post. It's hit the woodwork, but it's again come for Kyle Court. There's a hint of offside potentially. Yes, unfortunately he is. I think it was Bellamy that was offside, but the Kyle Court goal, it'll show that Kyle Court was because he was the one that scored, but I think it might have been Bellamy that was offside there. Here's McGreal into Brown. Plays it out wide to Duncan. Duncan holding onto the ball, finding Brown again. Here, now McGreal in the centre to Marino. Tranmere holding onto the ball quite well here. This is Duncan again out wide. Into Thornton. Thornton loses out to Humphreys. Now Matt Upson into Scott Parker. Danny Murphy in space in the centre. Looks over the top here for Kevin Davis. He's got Kyle Court in support in the centre of the penalty area if he can find him. He lays it off to Danny Mills, who crosses for Kyle Court. And he won the header, but he could only glance it. And it's gone wide of the far post. Really well worked move once again. And we're looking very, very good here. Watford are actually in front now against Coventry. So that was short-lived. It remains 2-0 here as we approach half-time though. It's been a very positive performance, but we've only had 3 shots on target despite having 16 attempts altogether. A little bit disappointing that we're not hitting the target as a little bit more, but at the same time a 2-goal lead is quite reasonable. A third would be nice though at this stage. Here's Kevin Davis, plays it back to Nicky Weaver. Daniel Van Boyten has support ahead of him if he can find it. He looks to play it square to Smith, who plays it again back to Van Boyten. Van Boyten is looking around trying to get that pass over the top, and Kevin Davis, it's a well measured pass by Van Boyten. Kevin Davis down this right hand side, can he get the cross in? He cuts inside here. Kevin Davis, he decided to strike it, and it was a tame effort, and Powell makes a comfortable save. So there we have it, it's half time, we're 2 goals to the good here. And we don't want any complacency. We want to focus in this game, and we want a clean sheet, to be quite honest, just to reassert ourselves after the previous match against Watford. Watford remain 2-0 up as well. Here we go with the set piece with Danny Murphy. Cal Court was attacking it, and it's going to be cleared by McGreal, and it's Marino who is going to try and get it away. He plays it inside to McGreal. Bit of a risk there considering where our players were situated near the penalty area. And Danny Murphy looking for Kevin Davis, couldn't find him, but it's come back out to Van Boyten. All of our players are in the Tranmere half here, and it's Craig Bellamy, plays it back, and it's off the crossbar and down, but it's not crossed the line. Danny Mills back in, Calcourt can't quite get it over, and Reed manages to clear, but it's only as far as Bellamy. It's a very dangerous pass there, but Bellamy couldn't hold on to it, and eventually Tranmere get it away. It still remains 2-1 in the Watford game against Coventry at the moment. Really close game in that one. And as we come to the hour mark, we've got half an hour left in game. We've created a lot more chances in the second half. Danny Murphy with the delivery. Smith at the far post. It's a really good block and clearance off the line by Tranmere there. And it remains 2-0. But we are looking a lot better in this game. But we've created so many chances. But for us to only be 2-0 up is a little bit disappointing in a way, considering how many chances we've created. Here comes Danny Mills. Good winning of the header there. Now Danny Murphy. Does well to hold on to it, and Kevin Davis is on it now. Kevin Davis into Danny Mills on that right hand side. Can he make the run forward? He decides to turn back and find Van Boyten. Plays it inside to Scott Parker and Danny Murphy. Brilliant pass over the top by Danny Murphy to Craig Bellamy, and he smashes it off the crossbar. It remains 2-0. It's still 2-1 in the Watford game as well. So the win is the most important thing right now. We're going to take Kevin Davis off. He's struggling for a bit of fitness here. Sean Wright Phillips will come on. And here's Danny Mills with the throw into Mark Smith, who's in space here in the penalty area. Finds Bellamy. What a save from Powell. He somehow manages to keep it out here. And it remains 2-0. I mean, we've had 30 attempts in this game. We're averaging a shot every 3 minutes at the moment. 8 shots on target, but it still only remains 2-0. Watford's still 2-1 up. They have had a big injury there as well, by the looks of it. Hopefully Coventry can get back into that game while we're doing our job here. We're going to keep things as they are in terms of the squad now. We're not going to make any more changes. And as the team does well to see the game out, it's going to finish 2-0 here. Watford also managed to win 2-1 unfortunately, but we retain our 5-point lead at the top of the table, and I'm quite happy to have completed that result. So there we have it. We are 5 points clear of Watford, but all together with 13 points clear of third place as well. So I think promotion is looking very good at the moment, but the league title is definitely going to be up for grabs where Watford are concerned. They're certainly going to keep the pressure on after beating us, so we're going to have to make sure we win plenty of matches in the coming games. Speaking of the coming games, we've got 6 games coming up in December, so I think what I'll probably do, looking at the fixture list, so January I'll end up skipping through completely, even though there's the FA Cup games potentially in there. We'll come back in February after January, but I'll come back first at the end of December, probably for the Barnsley and Norwich away games, and then after that we'll go straight through to the home game against Stockport and Huddersfield at the start of February, and we can have a transfer roundup from there. Well guys, until then, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate your support. We'll come back, like I say, for the away games against Barnsley and Norwich, and I hope to see you next time. This is Big Will, signing away.